not just sort of like just wait until see what the U.S. policy is?
Yeah.
And then if we have to sort of take the pieces that applies to us, we'll take the pieces that apply to us, right? And then we can decide whether we want to be running ahead of them or just follow behind. That's a decision we can make. But let's just sort of like, it's like poker, dude. Let's see the flop first, you know? Like,
yeah.
Why are we going all in? Like, you know, without even like,
right. At least see the flop.
We don't even have to go all in, right? They didn't even
just
raise.
Make a little bit, bet. Just go in.
Just call the big blind. We're good.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and I think the same is true for the rest of the world as well, right? Because once the U.S. comes out with their policies, that everybody's going to decide whether they want to, you know, be a little bit easier or a little bit harder, right?
Okay.
So that's why I think that's my view on regulation here. And the second thing, and the other big thing I think is going to be really, really important for us as sort of people in the industry is just sort of like at the end of the day, sort of like what's really cool, what I think is that once US starts doing all these activities, then their partner or their competitive partner, China, is probably gonna do something not too far and in the not too far off future as
That's
well. Right? Because
it's game theory playing out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then if China does something, I mean, that's gonna move numbers here in Asia as well, more so, right? Just because it's physically closer. And then that money, that's a big chunk of money and a big chunk of I think talent base as well. Right. So in my mind, it's sort of like so in my mind, I actually think like, you know, the last couple of years and maybe even for the 12 months, 18 months here, we have a nice little window to try to maybe get ahead of it. Both as a business perspective, as an investor perspective. So I'll pause here. Okay. That's enough on that point.
Yeah, but okay, so here's my take on this. I'm just wondering, like when this, you know, crypto move by the president's going to happen.
Yep.
You know, they've got the Sovereign Wealth Fund. They've got the Crypto Czar coming up with a strategic crypto fund. I actually thought it was going to be a Bitcoin strategic fund. I myself, I'm a little bit of a maxi.
Yep.
I kind of felt bad and I thought, is that the right direction? Because for me, I think that's the wrong direction. If they're going to make it like a basket of different crypto goods in this strategic fund, I think it should only be a Bitcoin strategic fund only. But they have a sovereign wealth fund where they have like $2-3 trillion that they're going to be investing. And I know that the head of the sovereign wealth fund is a massive crypto bull or a Bitcoin bull. Yeah. So I know they're going to be investing in that as well. What's your take? Do you think it should just be a Bitcoin only strategic fund, or do you think it should be a basket of crypto fund?
So I think it should just be Bitcoin to start off with.
Okay.
Yeah, just mainly because Bitcoin is kind of like technology agnostic, right? It is a reserve. It's like digital gold, right? It's a reserve currency rather than a sort of a innovation thing, right? It's like if you're gonna buy Solana, if you're gonna put Solana or XRP or like ETH or whatever in there. I mean, that's no different than putting like Google, Microsoft, and Facebook in there because those are technologies, right? Whereas Bitcoin is completely different from those technologies, right? Bitcoin doesn't need you to develop on top of it. Bitcoin doesn't need you to like upgrade your tech stack. Right? Bitcoin doesn't need you to like do more work on it and build applications on it and get users. Like Bitcoin just is.
Yes.
It's a very different profile of an asset. Right. So I mean, like that's and I think if you're going to build a sovereign wealth fund, I mean, and you want to build up a gold, if you're going to put gold in there, then Bitcoin sort of is that supply, right? But that being said, I mean, it's sort of like, I think what's going on there is I think they're just like, they're going to discuss it, right? They're going to have people to make decisions, right? I don't know. I don't have that much sort of like insight in terms of like whether it's going to be Bitcoin or whether it's some other currencies. But it is one of those things like where if you put Bitcoin in, you're not going to have any complaints from anybody. Right. Whereas like you're going to put 6 different things in there, you're going to have complaints from everybody.
Absolutely.
So I just think like the path of least of resistance is just going to be Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Right. And then nobody will complain. If everybody else complains, then you know what? You can next batch.
Yeah.
Right? So I think first batch is just going to be Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Right. But I think what's going to be interesting is less of the what, but more of the how. Right. The how is important because we're like, are they just going to set up a Bitcoin buying program? Like, are they going to just go buy it in one get-go? Right? Are they going to just sort of like convert all of their confiscated Bitcoin? It's like, is there a target they want to get to? right? Are they going to set up mining operations to mine the Bitcoin? So as I think is the how is the interesting part, because that's the that in my mind is sort of like the upside, right? And then because how they decide to do it is, again, I think other countries are going to probably just copy the same thing.
Right.
So if there's like a sustained Bitcoin buying for the next 5 years, right? And that's an amazing thing for Bitcoin, right?
Yeah. But you know, that's what Senator Loomis was proposing, right?
Yeah.
5 years, 200,000 Bitcoins a year to get to 1 million Bitcoin. But they already have confiscated, 180,000 Bitcoins? I forget if it was 180, 200. But yeah, so that was the idea already to begin with. And you're right. If they did make it a crypto strategic fund, there's going to be a lot of complaints because that's going to be open to corruption, open to lobbying, open to basically using your influence, XRP, for example, to be able to put XRP there to pump their price. And that's just, I think it's going to corrupt the entire system in terms of what they're trying to do.
It's going to smell a little bit different.
Yeah,
it's gonna smell like there's something is off. Right?
Yeah, it's gonna be very fishy, right?
Like, exactly, right? Because even like for us, like crypto native people, like I know the difference. Like we know the difference between Bitcoin and everything else.
Yes, exactly.
Right? It's just is like and the risk profile, and sort of like the tech behind it, and like sort of the holder mentality behind it as well.
Right. Okay. So, but you know what? Like I did notice that there's one thing about altcoins. In 2021, there were only, if I remember seeing in coin market cap, roughly about 18,000 cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
Yesterday I checked.
Was it like 20 million?
11 million. Oh yeah, I think it was 11 million. I was like, wait, this was 20,000 just a few years ago. It's 11 million. Yeah. That's ridiculous. So because of that, here was one of the discussions I had with my friends in crypto. I noticed that the altcoins market isn't really pumping as hard. When is altcoin season? I think that's what everyone wants to know. What's your take on it? And honestly, I'm worried because I've got altcoins I bought last year that I was thinking, okay, this is the bottom. We're going into the bull market. Bitcoin's going to hit 100,000. All my coins are going to pump. It hasn't happened. As a matter of fact, I think I paid more last year than it's worth this year.
Yeah.
So what's your take? Do you think we're going to have this altcoin season given that there's 11 million cryptocurrencies out there right now?
I think it's going to be very different. Yeah. I think whatever is going to, I think some things we can learn from the past, but I think we're in like this whole new world right now. Mainly just because we like for just like a couple of data points first, right? Back in 2021, for coins, we averaged about, during sort of the peak Axie season, we averaged about 400,000 monthly active traders on our platform.
Okay.
Today, our peak months were November, December, and January. I think things come down a little bit in February. We're averaging about 200,000 monthly active traders on our platform. Half. So we're not even close to sort of what I call like peak euphoria.
Whoa, that's interesting.
Yeah, and the same is probably true, I think, for most of the other sort of trading platforms as well. So that's data point number one, right? Data point number two, in terms of that's on the user side, right?
Right.
And I think second thing is more so, I think, back on the token side, which is the token that leads alts. I mean, you can say all you say about Ethereum. Like Ethereum leads alts.
When you say leads, what do you mean?
Like
because not in price.
No, I'm saying like if Ethereum is sort of like the leading indicator for alts.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah. Just because it is a much what is it beyond Bitcoin is still probably the most widely held sort of second coin, right? It's still the most widely used coin in DeFi, right?
Yep.
It's still the most widely used coin in other sort of all the L2s are still built on ETH.
Yep.
Right. And I think the lack of price movements from ETH means that the underlying asset that you're using to finance your transactions, to do borrowing, because ETH is a very because Bitcoin, most people don't use it to borrow against, right?
Right.
ETH is actually widely used for borrowing.
Really?
Yeah. If you look at these
Collateral.
like if you look at
way.
Aave or like ETH is a much bigger collateral asset than Bitcoin, because people don't want to put their Bitcoin at risk.
Yes, exactly.
Right. But ETH is widely used. I think sort of you can view ETH as sort of like the underlying value of the ecosystem. Right. And then I think until we see movements in ETH, Bitcoin has almost sort of like segregated itself from sort of other cryptos.
Yes.
Whereas I think like ETH price is actually much better indicator of like when alts will move. Vis-a-vis Bitcoin.
Right.
Because it's actually almost like, because with the ETFs, with MicroStrategy of the world, you almost have like a completely different world of people that's buying and trading and then building with Bitcoin. Vis-a-vis sort of like the traditional crypto people. Yes, you have Solana in there and you have other coins in there. And then you have all this like infighting between ETH and Solana. I was like, I just think that's kind of retarded. But like, but I think because you guys will represent like, unless, I mean, the other interpretation is sort of like, if you want to go down that rabbit hole a little bit more, is until maybe when Solana really takes over the mantle from ETH.
Yes.
And then Solana becomes the new ETH. That's when maybe the alts will pump. Yeah, but right? So I just think that Bitcoin like those are sort of like the two takeaways, like ETH price and then user and retail interest.
But then again, doesn't Solana have more users, or at least active wallet addresses right now? Yeah, or transaction volume?
Yeah, but they're all there to pump Memecoins. Like
right.
Yeah, like if you look at like that's those aren't like, I don't call them like long-term money. Right. Like they're just like speculators. Like, yes, you need speculators. Like people be like, oh, 500,000 people came and bought the Trump Memecoin. Yep. And then 2 weeks later, 500,000 people left the platform because they all got rugged, you know? Like,
oh my God.
It's just, you know, like, it's just like, I like, that's what I'm saying. Like, well, if 500,000 people came in and then realized they can borrow at 4% by staking, that's pretty good. Or if like 500,000 people came in and they realized they can get like 8% yield on their, you know, on their stable coins, like that, some will stay, right? It's just sort of like, what are these people coming to do? Like, if they're coming in just to buy some Memecoin, I don't see that as a sort of a sustainable trend.
Yeah, they're not sticky, right?
No.
Yeah. So unlike somebody who uses ETH, where they're really there for the long term. A lot of these people that go on ETH are really there since they've probably been there since the ecosystem was built.
Yep.
Like I still use ETH right now when I go on DeFi, and it's used staking primarily, or liquidity farming, stuff like that. Like that's what I use it for. But the fees in ETH right now have dropped significantly.
It's really cheap right now. Gas fees are cheap right now.
So, but man, like seriously though, there's a part of me, I did convert some of my ETH to Solana.
That's okay. I mean, I think, look, man, like my bag is like Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana, right? Like,
it is.
Yeah, those are like the main holdings, and then like that's like 80-90%, and then 10%, and then just like random stuff.
Right. Okay. So right now for me, what's been happening is because of this massive explosion in altcoins, I actually started to divest in altcoins. Okay. And I'm starting to become more of a Bitcoin maxi now. And I used to trade a lot of altcoins. I stopped trading it and I just left what I have, and I'm just like, screw it. I'm going all in, pretty much all in on Bitcoin.
That's a great trade.
Yeah, because I noticed Bitcoin, even if it goes down, it'll go back up.
And it's like there's a joke. I'm not sure if there's a meme. It's like when Bitcoin first hit 100,000, ETH hit 4,000. When Bitcoin crossed 100,000 again, ETH is at 3,400. When Bitcoin hits 100,000,
I feel it, man.
And then now ETH is at like 2,700.
Yeah, that's painful, man. That's so painful. Yeah. I really am planning to. I might move some more ETH to Solana, to be honest with you. And some of it I might move to Bitcoin. I made a mistake where I moved Bitcoin to Solana last year. And now I'm like regretting it because now ETH to Bitcoin price is just at an all-time low. Okay, so here's a question that you touched on that I wanted to ask you. When you mentioned Trump and you mentioned meme coins, Trump did open up his own meme coin. That took me by surprise. Did you expect that? Number one, because nobody did. Number one. And number two, I know you guys listed it. All right, but when you listed it, I don't know how much Trump coin was at that time. Did you buy Trump coin?
Yeah, I bought Trump coin at $50. I'm still sitting on it. It's at like $18 now. Yeah. Yeah, because I bought it during the inauguration. I was like, oh, he's gonna get inaugurated.
Yeah, exactly.
He's gonna talk about it.
Yep.
And then nothing happened. I mean, I'm still holding on to it, but
Damn, Melania.
Huh?
Melania did it.
Yeah, the Melania one kind of like sucked the sail out of the wind, right?
Yeah, they did. Unbelievable. And then they also opened up what was the other coin? World Financial.
Yeah, his sons like their kids like DeFi platform.
Right, where they bought all these altcoins. They bought all these altcoins in Bitcoin just to commemorate Trump's I don't know, was it 74th president? I forget what kind of
47, yeah.
47 president, right? So okay, so what do you think is the Trump coin factor? So what is the Trump factor in all of this? Because I thought with Trump coming in today, we would be at $125,000 Bitcoin. Where are we at and what's going on?
I think we're still early. Yeah, I think we're still early. I think people were waiting for more policies on crypto to come in.
Right.
And then I've said this from day one. I was like, crypto is not a day one issue. Crypto is more like a day 2, day 4, day 5 issue for them. Right. Day 1 issue is like, for him, it's like immigration, inflation, and all these other
true,
like cutting cost, efficiency, all that stuff. It's like, and then they'll move on sort of like these longer term things.
Yeah.
Right. And then you're not going to get these longer term things done because right now, all of like, if you look at it, what we kind of want to see is we want to see crypto regulation and crypto policies to be engraved in legislations. That's means that doesn't matter who the next president is.
Exactly.
That's legislation. Like they can't change that, right?
Yeah.
Like all these executive orders that he's released, if the next president is a Democrat, then all of these things can get reversed immediately.
Yeah.
Right. So I actually think that's why I'm saying like they're taking the time to work with Congress in the US to get these sort of like, things passed. So once they do create a Bitcoin strategic reserve, because people are expecting them to do that through an executive order. Right. But the thing is that you could also have the next president comes in
with an executive order reversing that,
and then maybe even selling that. Right. Which is like not a good thing. But if you do have a real legislative bill that's passed by Congress saying that over the next 10 years, we're going to buy 500,000, whatever that number is, they can't, it's going to be really hard for them to reverse that trend once that's passed. I think that's what's happening. And I do think that, so that's one bucket. I think the second, so I would preach patience because I think last year, it's almost like this year's like almost, I would say like last year on speed. Like last year, ETF came through in January.
January 10th.
And then we also had the halvening, right?
Yep.
And then Bitcoin hit its all-time high before the halvening.
Yes.
It's never happened before, hit like 60K, right?
Yep.
And then we're basically from like April all the way to November, we're stuck in this no man's land.
Right. It was sideways.
That was pretty miserable, actually, right? Because I joke around, it's like you're here, you showed up for the party, right? And you're ready to go, you're dressed, but then there's nobody there. You're like, where's the party? Is this the party?
It's not going anywhere.
Is this the party? But the party didn't start until like 2 a.m., right?
Right.
And then at that point you're like kind of tired,
Right.
But then you still had fun because you partied from 2 to 4 a.m., right?
Right.
So that was last year. I think this year, we're going to see a similar trend. Like people coming in, like we're super excited, right? I think this year we're going to until you have legislation coming in, right? Which is basically the Bitcoin. I think the strategic reserve is the big catalyst.
Yeah.
Right. But despite that, I think what you're seeing now is, you're still seeing a consistent demand coming into Bitcoin right now, right? You're still seeing MicroStrategy of the world buying, ETFs are still buying, other countries in the world are kind of secretly buying, right? That's why you're seeing Bitcoin holding up quite strongly, right? But what I hope to, but that's why I'm saying Bitcoin is Bitcoin, right? I think on the Ethereum front, and then to look after our alt bags, like we need to see more innovation and then more use cases and more applications coming from the Ethereum community and coming from the Solana community. Right. We need to get more people. We need to get like Coins active user from 200,000 to like 500,000 or 1 million. Right. We need to get more. We need Axie and Ronin to come out with better games. Right. We need people to release we need like real things that people want to use. Right. So I think that's where we're kind of stuck. Right. Because the only thing that the market has been kind of pushing are Memecoins. Right. And then Memecoins at the end of the day is just like lottery. They call it PVP. Right? It's like my money into your pocket,
Right.
or all of our money into the dev's pocket, or into these scammer and KOL pockets, right? It's just Chris hasn't promoted any Memecoins yet, right?
No, I don't. Actually, I'm very
exactly,
careful.
Exactly.
I am so, and I felt bad because when the Trump coin came out, a friend of mine said to me, "So did you buy the Trump coin?" I go, "I did." And then he goes, "Okay, how much did you buy?" And I bought like a couple of $1,000, and then he was like, "Okay, I'll buy the same." I'm like, "Okay," and then he bought. I was like, "Shoot!" And when it dropped, I was like, I felt so bad about it.
No, my thesis on buying these kind of like lottery ticket kind of coins is like once you like it's gone, right? Like or you have like a time frame, or you have like a thesis. Like for me, it's like, I bought it like during his inauguration speech, thinking that he was going to talk about crypto.
Yeah.
And then he didn't talk about it, and then it dropped, and then I just got out, right? But like, you got out, you take some loss, you just take the loss, don't hold it, don't round trip it. Like just sort of like, you have a thesis in your head of why you're buying it, right? And then if it doesn't hit that thesis, just get out. That means that means you're wrong, you're gone. Right?
Yeah.
But the thing is that, but if it does like go to zero, you're okay with sort of losing it all, just because it's a gamble in the first place. Right. So sort of it's the mentality behind it. And if it does, double or triple or whatever, then get your cost back.
Well, that's why I tell everyone that gets into crypto that no matter what meme coin or altcoin you get into, I always tell people, make sure you have Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Because if you have Bitcoin as your foundation, no matter what you get into, you're not going to be as hurt, or, it's not going to hurt as badly.
Like, or just move your profits into Bitcoin.
Right.
Don't move your profits into the next, and the next. Always move your profits
into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Don't touch it.
Yeah. So right now you're seeing global adoption happening all over the world. All the countries are starting to get into it. Like, what do you really think? Are we at the top yet right now? Or do you think it's still going to get let's just use Bitcoin as because that's our standard. That's, that's my reference point for everything. Do you think we're at the top right now? Or do you think we still got ways to go before this cycle ends, this bull cycle ends?
Yeah, we got ways to go.
Really?
Yeah, we got ways to go.
Because I mean, I heard from one of my trader friends. He's completely out of Bitcoin. Completely out.
Why?
Because he said that he believes this could be the top. Right now at 110,000, that's the top. And we're going down, and the next cycle will be 4 years from now. The next 4 years.
And I think this cycle hasn't. I think like this cycle hasn't even begun.
Oh wow!
I think all we've seen are just like teases.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like nations. Like, what is it? Because like from a Bitcoin perspective, like we've moved from sort of like retail to sort of like smart money to insto money, and then move up to nation states.
Nation states,
right?
exactly.
And then nation state still hasn't even started buying yet.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's just a matter of time. I think the US thing will happen. And then once that happens, then you basically have all the other countries start sort of competing for Bitcoin, right? And then there's just only limited number of Bitcoin. It's a pure supply and demand issue.
Yeah.
Right. And then all these Bitcoin whales, they're not selling. I mean, I don't see, like, I joke around as like, my thesis on Bitcoin is that I think Bitcoin is going to run to about 1 million. And then, and then each sat is worth like a penny.
Yep.
Then that's when Bitcoin becomes sort of like the stable coin. And then it moves on to sort of this payment thing that Satoshi talked about.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Only when Bitcoin becomes a stable coin can you really use it for payment, quote unquote, right? And then all these whales, like all these like guys that hold on to it, they're not, nobody is thinking of like, what is it? Like, if you talk to like some of these like early Bitcoin buyers, like the Winklevoss twins, right? Like the Pantera guys, like guys, the guys that got into Bitcoin in like 2010, 2012.
Yeah, they're not selling. No, they're not even close.
They're not even close. Like a lot of them are gonna be like, I'm gonna pass this down to my kids.
Yep.
I'm gonna pass them down to like my family. Like, so I don't like, for me, it's like I've set aside Bitcoin for my children, right? Like I'm not like that's the, and then like, at the end of the day, we're still early adopters.
Yep.
There's going to be, as more and more people sort of take on that mentality, right? That's just, I just don't see it. I don't see this being sort of, maybe it's like, if your friends like, market cycle is like a couple of months, I think maybe this is like a 6 months top, maybe.
Okay.
Right. But in the next 12 to 24 months, I think we still got ways to go.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Before it tops out and then it corrects.
And then it'll correct, right? And then it'll correct.
Yeah. Where does it correct to?
I don't know. Like, I mean, if you look at historically, like Bitcoin usually goes up, like the top are always like 3 to 4x the previous top.
Yep.
Right. And then the bottom is like a third to a half of sort of like the local top.
Yeah.
Right? So if we get to like 200,000, 300,000, maybe it'll correct to 100,000.
100, right? Ah, okay, that sounds good. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
So I might keep some of my Bitcoin because of what you said. Okay, so for all the people that are watching right now, like I know that Coins has how many altcoins?
We have over 100 plus coins listed on our platform right now.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Okay. You've got the most altcoins, I think, in all the local
of all the local exchanges.
And there's not a lot of local exchanges involved to begin with. So of all your altcoins right now, what do you recommend for people getting into, like for example, coins.ph or getting into crypto, and when they start getting into it, what do you think should they do? What is the best advice you can give for people that wanting to get into crypto?
I would say a lot of it depends on whether you're coming in with money or you're coming in with time. It's like if you don't have any money, then take the opportunity to go join groups where you can help to promote activities, or join guilds where you can actually, use your time to earn crypto.
Okay.
Right. I mean, always, if you have an opportunity to earn crypto, do it. Right. And there's no shortage of opportunities to earn it.
Right? All right.
Yeah. And then, and we have, a lot of really good communities that we work with. Right. And then, it's like go and join these communities because they're all looking for people to help them to promote themselves. Right now we're working with like a community called Turbo, right? And, they're giving away like a ton of Memecoins during this campaign.
Okay.
Right. But you can also sort of use that opportunity to get to know who's in the community. And then once you help them to sort of grow their community here in the Philippines, you can basically start a way to earn, right? I always feel like trading, if you don't have the money to get into, to buy crypto, then, there's plenty of opportunities to earn.
Right. And you guys do airdrops.
We do airdrops. We do a ton of airdrops. We have airdrops like every week, right? But they're not massive, right? But we do have participate in activities on Coins, join our community first, right? Like we're planning we're probably going to be planning some kind of a platform token later this year. So if you're active in our community, if you're active on our platform, there's going to be airdrops, for our community down the road, right? So, and I think that's going to be true for a lot of these different communities as well. So that's one area. But if you do have money and you do want to invest, then you basically have to tell yourself you always you need to come in with a clear head of like, what do I need? What do I want to get out of it? Right? If you come in and be like, I'm just here to gamble.
Right.
Like I have 100 pesos. I'm just here to if I lose it all today, I'm not going to complain. Right? Don't complain, right? I'm just here to gamble, right? Then buy what you think that can get you 100x, right? I'm not here to tell you what that is, right? Right. But for that one, it's just a recommendation is like, it is a very volatile market.
Yes, right? It is.
Like for example, in November and December, we were listing tokens ahead of like Binance, right? So you can actually get the Binance pump. Like for example, at AIXBT, we listed it before Binance, right? And then there's still a lot of bigger tokens that we've listed that's still not listed on Binance or Coinbase that we think that Binance and Coinbase should list.
Yep.
Right, like a virtuals, right? Like I'm a big believer in like sort of AI and crypto, right? So just sort of so that's where we spent a lot of efforts the last quarter, right? Like a lot of them had a really good run up, right? So if you had bought and you have taken profit on it, you'd be doing well. But if you held onto it, a lot of that stuff is down, I think 50 to 60% from the top, right? But we have to realize the volatility that is crypto.
Yes.
If you can't handle a 50% loss,
you shouldn't be in crypto.
You shouldn't be in crypto, or don't buy alts, right?
Yeah.
Just buy a little bit. Like the best strategy, if you want to, okay, like I said, if like that's one end of the spectrum. It's like I'm just here to gamble. That's okay too. Like if your strategy is I'm here to build a long-term portfolio, dollar cost average into Bitcoin every day or every week or every month, right? That's still the best strategy. Like there's so many stories now of people that's been dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin over the last 5 years. They've, they bought like $100 a month or something like that. And then now they have like a couple $100,000 portfolio, right? That's the easiest. And then maybe we'll come out with a product that allows you to dollar cost average into crypto, into Bitcoin, right? And, yeah. So, and then the last point is more of a just sort of generally speaking, this is probably the most important thing is, kind of know where you are in the cycle. Like what I'm seeing right now, what's really different this cycle versus previously is we didn't have one massive everything cycle.
Right.
We've had 3 or 4 mini like sector specific cycles.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's just sort of like, it's not like everything goes up all at once. Basically like second half of last year we had like a Memecoin cycle. Yeah. And then fourth quarter last year we had like an AI coin cycle, right? And then now we have like, I don't know, like an RWA cycle or something like that. And we're like I said, like we're not gonna have this massive cycle until we have like an ETH, ETH goes 4 or 5x and Solana goes 4. Then we have the everything cycle.
And you believe we're still gonna get there?
I think we'll still get an everything cycle. Yeah.
God, I hope so. We're already in February.
But the thing is that the thing is that if you held on to sort of like, like dumpy like Solana Memecoins from like 6 months ago, that stuff that's not going to be in this. Like I'm talking about more like a more mainstream coins. Yeah, I believe like ETH DeFi coins are undervalued vis-a-vis sort of like where they should be. Right, like if you look at all these DeFi protocols on ETH, like the Aaves, the Uniswaps, the MakerDAOs, right, and then the same is true for Solana, sort of similar projects. Is like they're stuck in this sort of regulatory limbo, right? Where the governance tokens, like you get nothing out of the governance token,
right? But
these protocols are making millions of dollars every day.
Yeah,
right. They are. I mean, if you just value it as a business, it's a very profitable business. Right?
Absolutely.
But the governance token holders, you're not getting anything, right? They'll do some buybacks, but what if they turn on sort of like, hey, all of a sudden staked unis or staked Aaves can basically get this massive dividend from the money that they're making from the protocol. Right. Right. And then that's something that is, if that event happens, you're probably going to get a re-rating of value for all these like money earning protocols, right? So these governance tokens are, could become, sources of income, right?
Right.
Because I do think one thing that's going to happen this cycle is that, people are going to want to move a little bit of their risk from sort of like upside risk to like yield risk. Right. Like,
okay.
Yeah. And I think that's where I think the regulation is going to come in and maybe sort of, encourage or that allows for this to happen.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's at the end of the day, that's a maturation of this market.
Yes.
Right. You're probably like, people have to get out of sort of this 100x mentality, maybe like be happy with 2 to 3x or 4 to 5x.
I think it's going to be a while.
Yeah, but we came out of the 100x. Like you could actually had that before.
Exactly. Before that was more possible. Now I don't know if
I don't see it.
And plus, they don't have the liquidity.
No,
that's the thing. Like there was one. I'm not going to say the coin, but I was talking to Kat about this, and I was like mentioning there was this one meme coin where the guy, the influencer was shilling it, and I was saying, dude, there's no liquidity to be able to sell it at the amount he was saying. If he sold it at that price, he would dump the entire market and rug pull everyone. Yeah. So there was no way he was going to be able to sell that. So even if it goes up to 20, 30, 100x, try to sell it. You're not going to be able to sell it. There's no liquidity to be able to convert that. Yeah. So that was it. So, but that's a lot of good advice.
Yeah, that's the hard one with meme coins is that it's really hard to keep that attention span. Right. It's like you have to individuals that are promoting it or the community has to do a lot of work to keep that attention span. Right. And then because once that attention span is gone,
then you move on to the next.
It's gone. It's just gone. It's not coming back. Because what we have to realize, like once it's gone, it's really hard to get it back.
But not just meme coins. Even layer 2 protocols are having a hard. I've got some layer 2 protocols in Ethereum, and they're down so much right now. I'm like, I don't think it's even coming back. Not for a while. I mean, I've seen Matic, Polygon, Optimism, Arbitrum. They're like at all-time lows, and I'm just like, oh man.
Polygon is struggling.
Yeah, it is, and I honestly don't know if I'm ever going to see it, or like you said, wait for Ethereum. wait for the granddaddy to pump everything, and then that's when you see alt season, which hopefully it happens soon. So we had such a great discussion today, and it was jam-packed. And I know that people are watching. They're probably going to be excited to see what we can come up with. It's the first time we're doing this Coinversation. What did you guys think of the conversation? I'd love to hear from all of you guys. And Wei, maybe you can invite everyone, or what did you think? How was the Coinversation today?
I really like it. I love this format of just like talking about things, and then I'm really excited to sort of share a lot of the insights, a lot of the knowledge that I've sort of have learned through the years, but then also have continued to accumulate, right? Because I think the cryptos, like, there's no other industry that I'd rather be in, and then because it's exciting. There's like literally stuff happening all the time, right? And then for like an attention, I have like what attention deficit disorder. Like for me, like I'm ADHD, like I can't. So this is like literally the perfect industry for me, right? Because there's always stuff going on, and then for me, and I'm basically trying to build a business in the middle of what I think is the most exciting industry in the world right now.
Yeah.
Right. Because like I tell people, it's like, okay, the exciting industries that you want to be in, right? You want to be in AI, right? You want to be in space, right? You want to be in what was the other one? Like EVs, energy stuff, right? It's like, well, I'm not an engineer. I don't know how to build rockets, and then I don't know how to build cars, and then I don't know how to build AI. But at least like we got crypto, right? Because crypto is one of those things where like you don't need to be. You don't need a gigabrain to get into. It's just time and effort and hustle.
Yep.
Right. And then you can get into it. But once you're into it, then communication matters. That's why I think like it's really, I'm really excited to sort of, to kick off the Coinversation podcast with you. And then to keep the conversation going.
Yeah, and for me, honestly, I'm really honored to have Wei here because I get so much stuff from you, pretty much alpha information from you when it comes to crypto. And we're going to be sharing a lot of that in the coming episodes. So guys, thank you so much for joining us for our first Coinversation. And definitely this won't be the last. We'll see you guys in the next one.
See you next time.
All right.